Creating risks in Primavera P6. We have a number of toolbars as you have seen multiple times before, and this toolbar to our left is the project toolbar. Here we'll have the risk related commands. Now to enable that, we have to go and say this more buttons option, then add remove buttons, and we have risks. So you can enable risk or disable risk. When you enable risk, you'll see two dice icons. One is a red colored one, another one is a white colored one. Risks, as we saw, are uncertain events. Hence, the dice icons are perfect. Now also we are going to enable for issues, and as well as we can also enable for threshold if you want, or if you don't want, then you can disable it. Because issues we are going to see shortly in another video lesson. Now coming back, after you have enabled this icon, this risk related icon or the command, as you can see now it is saying risks. We can click here to get into the risks window, or I am going to close on it here on the right, top right. We'll go to project and say risks. This also opens up the risks window. Now risks are project specific data. As you can see, it is coming from the project. This is in the project drop down menu. To add a risk, you have to simply click on plus. When I say plus, automatically a new risk is getting added. After you add a risk, the risk ID is given to you. The risk name, category, type, status is proposed, owner, identified by, identified on, and a number of parameters have been given. If you do not get all these parameters, you can right click and go to columns, and you can choose the parameters that you want from general and also from impact. A lot of things are available. So by default, I have added these are the parameters to be available in the risks window. So you can go to project, and finally we have description. These are the parameters we have. Now if you add another risk, let us do that. So I'll add another risk. When I add, again, as you can see, the ID is automatically changing. It is becoming risk 2, and by default the type added is threat, and the status is again proposed. Another thing you would have noticed that the exposure start and the exposure finish for the risk are taken from the project start and project finish. So if I go to the activities, and here if you go to the top, as you can see, the start is on 4th of October and finish is on 8th of December. Risks, when added, they are also being taken the same exposure start and finish. You can change them, but by default it is going to take the project start and project finish. Now below this, every time you select a risk, below this you have the risk details. You can right click and choose to have the risk detail, like enable it right now, or I can disable it. I can enable it as well. Now in the general, the properties of the parameters with respect to the risk have been shown. You have ID, the name, category, type, owner, status, exposure start, exposure finish, pre-response exposure cost, post-response exposure cost, risk identification date, risk identifier, among others. Then you can go to other tabs, but we are going to see all these tab details in the next video. Here we are creating the risks. Now to delete, you can press delete here, or press delete command or delete key on your keyboard. Now when I do that, it is asking, are you sure you want to remove the selected risks? Again, more details with respect to managing the risks we are going to see in the next video. Right now we are with respect to the creation of the risks. Next, I am going to take the risks. I have a flat file, so I'll take that flat file, and from the flat file I'll take the risks. So here you can see we have poor design specification. So poor design specification I'm going to add here. First one is poor design specification. Of course it is a threat. Then after poor design specification, we have key resources unavailable. Again I'm going to add and modify this, edit this one. Just double clicked on it and edit it. Key resources unavailable. Again it is a threat, obviously. The next one is reuse of design module. So I'll choose this one and I'll say again plus. Now it added, but this is not a threat, but it is an opportunity, because the name itself, as you can see, we are reusing the previous design module. So I have to change the risk type, and here it will become opportunity. Now it is asking, setting the risk type to another value will remove all the response and post response values. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes, we do not have any pre or post response, so I'll say yes. Now it has changed to opportunity. Not only it changed to opportunity, the icon changed from a red dice icon to a white dice icon. Red and white dices are quite appropriate because risks are uncertain events. If you remember the definition, I said risk is an uncertain event or condition. If it happens, then it will impact positively or negatively the project objectives. That is what Primavera P6 is telling you. Now again we'll add another one. I'll say plus. Again it added by default a thread. Again I'll take it from the flat file, contractor delay in procurement. So I'm going to choose this one and say contractor delay in procurement. So this is how you are going to create or add the risks in the Primavera P6 software tool. Another thing is with respect to the impact. When you provide the impact values with respect to probability, schedule and cost, the score will get calculated. So I'm going to briefly talk here. So as you can see, let us say this risk is of high probability. Impact with respect to schedule is medium. Impact with respect to the cost, let us say, is again high. Now when I did that, the score changed to 28. Without populating the value, the risk score, which is probability multiplied by impact, and we are going to take the higher of the two. So schedule and cost is high, so I'll take this one, and here we are getting 28. How this score is coming up? We are getting it from the PI table, which I have already explained how the score or the risk score will get calculated. If you change it to very high, then it is changing to 36. Now if I keep it as high, this one is high and this one is high, again it is 28. But if I change the cost, let us say to low, or say I'll say cost, because if it is low then the higher of the two will be taken. So I'll keep it as medium, and this one also I'm keeping it as medium, then the score is changing to 14. Again, this risk score calculation that is taken from the PI matrix or the PI table. Now coming to the top, now we have 3 negative risks or threats, 1 positive risk or opportunity.